Okay, this is the Talking Tactics podcast. What's up, everybody? My name is Daniel.
It's your boy HH.
Yep, we do this podcast every Tuesday. Follow us on the social medias. All the links are in the description for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud. If you're listening over there, hit the hearts if you like what you hear. If you're on Spotify, remember to follow us. Shout out to the people that's listening over there. We got a grip over there now, like a few hundred. So shout out to you guys. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, remember to subscribe. It's free. If you feel like it, leave a 5-star review and we will read it on the show. It's the kid just trying to listen to the pod every week. Love what you guys do and the topics you guys discuss, game analysis, and all is top notch, second to none. Keep up the good work, boys. From Twitch Cough. Shout out to that review from Canada.
Hey, Canada isn't that your country?
I was born Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's right.
Hey, Halifax.
Thank you for that review. Leave one and we will read it if it's 5 stars, obviously. Yo, and we have a Patreon. Thank you to everyone that's a Patreon that's been with us. We started in January. It's November now, so that's 10 months, 11 months if you include this one. So So I encourage everybody to check the tiers. $3 a month, and you get Talking Tactics Extra, where we spend 30, 40. I think the last one might have been like an hour. We had a lot to get through.
You get bang for your buck. You get bang.
Yeah, for sure. And this week it's going to be about power. All right. This is news that would normally break on a Tuesday after we recorded, but thankfully, Uli Hoeneß and the guys at Bayern Munich did us a favor.
Basically, I'm thinking about us.
Obviously. And, so Bayern Munich sacked Nico Kovač, who has been their manager for a year and some change, maybe a year and a half now.
Ancelotti got sacked. Heinkes then finished the season.
Came in, right.
Then he then took over beginning of last season.
Yeah, he probably would have gotten sacked last year, but he won the Bundesliga. So how do you sack a manager that wins the league? So he stayed, but I think he was always on thin ice. It never really felt like this was his job and he was going to be there for years and years and years. It was always just like once bad things start to happen, it's an easy sack. And they lost 5-1 to Eintracht Frankfurt, I think. They only had 10 men. No
excuse. No.
Yeah, I was paying attention. Like there was games going on at the time, and I was like, "What's going on with Bayern?" It didn't register like this is going to be a sackable offense, but I guess it's just the kind of weird results that are going on with Bayern.
But see, this is something that maybe I'll even ask you. This is that because my initial thought was that it's not a sackable offense. Doing really well in the Champions League will probably finish top of their group. Have you seen the Bundesliga lately? It's like 5 points separating first and 10th. They can easily so it is early enough in the season for them to go on a winning run and still win the Bundesliga. So I'm like, no, it's wrong. But my thing is this, and I think you alluded to it. Maybe they've seen a pattern carry on from last season, and also I think this is what some Landhamer said to me is that I think Kovač resigned. I don't think he got sacked. I think he resigned.
Oh,
because so that's why it's very clear to know what's really happened because that is key. If he resigned, then that changes the whole concept. If he wasn't, because it would make more sense to me if he resigned than if he got sacked. Because if he got sacked, bro, that's a big move to make at this point in time in the season.
I think it's interesting how the media reports on these things. Obviously, they try to make it as salacious as possible. So a resignation isn't as interesting, I guess. So when the manager leaves, it's been a sack. Like whenever Mourinho leaves a club by mutual consent, it's always Mourinho got sacked. Like, did he, or did they kind of come to an agreement amongst themselves? Like the last time with Chelsea, I guess he got sacked, and with United, I guess he got sacked. But I remember when he left the first time, it was by mutual consent, and a lot of people were like, "Yo, Mourinho got sacked. Chelsea sacked Mourinho. Boom, boom, boom." So if he did resign, that would be interesting. Like maybe he couldn't cope with the pressure, or there's things going on behind the scenes that he doesn't really like. Maybe player power or something like that.
It's the same thing with Ancelotti. Like the players just said that they weren't happy with his training regimes, and they actually had like a little kind, almost maybe not to the same degree as the whole Dominic France thing, where Ribery was leading the team out to like a team huddle, and they still lost the game in the World Cup. But it was like players versus manager in Ancelotti. So maybe it's a case of where Kovač and his brother and his team were like, bro, like
these Bayern players, man, I think they need to be looked at. Maybe they've been there so long. If you look at like the Boatengs and the Neuers and the Mullers and all these guys, they've been there so long from like 2012, 2013, that the entrenched kind of power that they have, they're able to get rid of anybody they want, basically. And they'll play for who they want to play for. So you get rid of Ancelotti, you bring in Jupankis, who won the treble and then retired, they'll play for them. They wanted to play for Pep Guardiola, maybe because he's recognized as like the greatest manager in the world or whatever, and that wasn't really an issue. Maybe a few players had issues in that way. Who is Nico Kovač to be the manager of Bayern Munich? Like, who is this guy? He managed Frankfurt 2 years ago, and now he comes and manage us. Like, who is this? So, like, why do we have to? Like, where is our respect? We've won trebles, we've won Champions League. Some of us have won World Cups. Like, who is this?
No, but I think people's arguments was that, well, he coached the team that beat them in that DFB Pokal Cup final, and they said like, maybe that was the game in which they said, oh no, maybe this is the look at what he can do with Frankfurt, top 4 cup winners, beating Bayern in the final. Boom! I think this is the dude to say what's up for us. But no, but it is like,
so you win the German Cup, and that's enough to manage the biggest team, like the 3rd biggest club in the world, essentially, or maybe the 4th.
No. I mean, it's like, I think that's why, like, even when he was hired, I was surprised because you had Wenger, Mourinho, like, there are many much more experienced names that could have come in. So I remember, like, they've had Ancelotti, they've had Guardiola, they've had Heinke. So to go from that to a Kovač, that's a big risk. And I just think that he's still a good coach, but there are levels. I think this job was too big for him. Same thing would happen to Pochettino. If he took the Real Madrid job, he'd get found out. So
do you think maybe the Bayern board was just a little bit too cocky? Is not the right word, but confident, overconfident maybe? It's like, we've won this league with these players who are still generally in their prime, maybe like the latter end of their prime. We've won this league, I think, 6 times in a row, perhaps 7. Maybe we could just plug in anybody. So Nico Kovač, he did okay with Frankfurt. So all right, let's hire him and see what happens.
Because see, my thing was this could have been a 2012 Chelsea where they struggle in the Bundesliga. But I remember even after that Tottenham game, guys say, guys, this might be Bayern's year. This might just be Bayern's year. So do you still value the Bundesliga much more higher than trying to win the Champions League, something you've not won since 2013? So would it really bother you that you don't win the Bundesliga this season, but you actually win the Champions League? Do you know what I find weird is like people's enjoyment of just seeing their teams win something again and again and again and again. Isn't there far more joy in winning something that is difficult to attain than something that's easy to attain? It's like, how much joy do you have for a PSG fan seeing your team win Uber Eats?
I think you said something in there that I didn't necessarily agree with. You said something that's easy to win. You might have meant easier to win than the Champions League. But winning a league over the course of 38 games in some leagues, 34 games in the Bundesliga's case, and having a whole year of success and happiness, I feel like that's like Champions League success comes in spurts. The culmination of winning the Champions League is probably greater than any feeling you might have, bar a World Cup or Euros or something like that. But the idea that your club, if we want to look at PSG, I think it's 7 out of the last 8. If we want to look at Juventus, 8 going on 9 times in a row. I think Bayern is 7 of the last, just 7 in a row, going on 8 if they win this year. Just the idea that you could have almost a decade of sustainable success, and if you're a fan, the idea that your club is the best for 10 years, and you've never had to be second, you've never held second, that feeling of we are the best, nobody can touch us, that has to feel good. Maybe not as good as that one moment when it's the 90th minute, you're up 3-1, Champions League final, the whistle blows, like that moment of elation might be great. But just the idea that for 10 years, nobody can touch you in your league, that has to be fun. Now you come to this season, and as you said, and as we've kind of been documenting over the course of the year, the Bundesliga table, you don't know who's going to win this thing. Like, from a team could be in 10th, win 2 games in their first. That's not something that I think Bayern's hierarchy, Bayern players, the managers, and ultimately the fans have been used to. So now it's like, we're losing grip in some way. So maybe we need to switch this up. And as I said, Kovač is an easy guy to get rid of, because who is he really?
Yeah.
Imagine if Pep had stayed and the same season is happening. They don't get rid of him because they would probably have trust that this is the guy that's done X, Y, Z for us already, and he's won the league, and boom, boom, boom. They'd keep him. Nico Kovač. I'm sure this guy has a Wikipedia page.
No, come on. Now you're being rude, man.
All right, so this is what this is his career so far in management. Croatia under 21s, Croatia, Frankfurt 16, 17, 18, and Munich 18 and 19. There's no real like pedigree outside of maybe what he's done in his playing career, which looks extensive. Listen, man, I think it was a predictable outcome as soon as the hire came. I probably thought he might stay for 2 years, maybe win the league twice, maybe not do that much in the Champions League, and then they'd go move to a more, what would you call it, a blue chip coach, if that phrase translates across overseas, just like somebody who you know is like an elite manager. And I don't think you'd call Kovač elite. Maybe in the same way, and I think I said this before, like if you looked at Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid to an extent, and Bayern Munich, the 4 most popular clubs in the world, the fact that they had, I guess, Kovač, Solskjaer, Zidane, and Valverde as their coaches, you're looking at it, it's just like, what is going on? You know, it's not like, well, I guess Guardiola's with Man City, and they've kind of entered that fray, Klopp with Liverpool, etc. But Mourinho doesn't have a job.
Easy.
All that kind of stuff. Even Sarri with Juventus. Would you really consider Sarri to be like a top elite manager in that way? Like maybe.
Oh no. He's
but not really.
He has one major trophy to his name.
Yeah. So I'm just maybe. Do you think that there's like just a lack of incredible managers that's making these clubs think maybe we can get away with this guy? Barcelona lost 3-1 to Levante, and then once Kovač was sacked, then we saw a bunch of Barcelona fans like, why don't we do that with our guy?
I mean, how many truly great quality managers are there as of right now? Who you could really vouch for as of right now?
One's with Manchester City, one's with Liverpool. We could argue one's with Tottenham.
Really?
That's why I said we could argue it. Would you say Pochettino's better than Kovač? I think yeah. Would you say he's better than Valverde? I think yeah. Would you say he's better than Solskjaer? Would you say he's better than Sarri? Maybe that's up for debate. That's probably like even. And maybe you would give it edge to Sarri just because of the football that they played in Napoli. He won a Europa League, maybe blah, blah, blah. But, you know, Pochettino did make a Champions League final at the end of the day. As I said, I think PSG have a good manager, good to great in Thomas Tuchel.
Good to great?
Yeah.
Bro, come on. come on.
Just because they play Uber Eats, man. Come on. I'm thinking, like, Dortmund, they have Lucien Favre. He's okay. I like the kind of football that they played at Nice. I watched it, if only because of, like, the players they had and whatnot. But if we just think about, like, big clubs, Inter, Conte, that's an elite manager, as much as I don't like him.
Okay, so then, what do you then think is the reason why Real, United, Bayern have these roadmen?
Real Madrid and Manchester United have those managers because of who they are, not necessarily what they are, right? So,
so you're saying Solskjaer is as much a legend as Zidane was for Real Madrid?
I didn't say that. I said they're there because of who they are, not what they are. Meaning what Zidane means to Real Madrid and what Solskjaer means to Manchester United kind of makes up for the idea that they aren't necessarily great managers. The same way like Lampard is with Chelsea. Like Lampard's not a great manager. He could be, he might be, but he's at Chelsea because of who he is. He's Frank Lampard and he's at Chelsea. Like if Frank Lampard couldn't go to Arsenal and do what he's doing because he doesn't mean the same thing. And that I think is why those two managers at Madrid and United are there.
Yeah.
For Barcelona, I don't understand it. Like I don't
you know his new name is Ern. Well, basically Ernesto Herb. I can't basically we have to call him by how his parents call him.
Like I think Bayern Munich are going to get one of the good managers. Maybe not right now, but but next summer.
I need a name.
Is it Rangnick? The former manager of RB Leipzig. I've seen him linked with the job, but I feel like that could be one of like a temporary hire. Like you take us.
I think apparently Closer coaches the Bayern under 21, so he might be a temporary thing.
Okay. If it were me, if you give me like control of Bayern, damn. It feels like all the managers that are available aren't necessarily a good fit. I don't think the fans would want Mourinho at all, just because of the type of style of football he plays. And you could argue the same thing for Allegri. I don't think they really want that kind of football, kind of pragmatic, not necessarily defensive, but just like it's not Bayern football in that way.
Okay, but then would you say Hanks was sort of pragmatic? He wasn't really attacking, and that's been their most successful dude, you know. So I think for Bayern, I think all they want really is to win.
Mourinho definitely brings baggage, and maybe that's the bigger argument.
What kind of baggage does Mourinho bring exactly?
You tell me. He's your boy.
Nothing. He comes humbly as a nice Samaritan, ready to do a quality job as long as the players are with him.
But Mourinho is, at least in the past, I don't know about now, but he's selling your soul. He would get you big success, but at the end of the day, it's going to end in heartbreak, and you have to understand that once you sign up for it. And that used to be the case. You know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that United were just so bad, and it was so much work that winning a Europa League, finishing second, I think he got an FA Cup in there or a League Cup. Fair enough, fine.
No, but because for me, I would say like if Mourinho was to go to Juventus or a Bayern and flop, then you could then say, yeah, he's done as an elite manager. Using his time at United as proof that he's done as a United manager is unfair based on just how garbage the team is. Look at them; they're fighting relegation.
I think detractors would tell you that a lot of the players that are there because of Mourinho, though. Like Fred, like that was his idea. Or players that he might have helped to ruin, if you look at maybe like a Luke Shaw or somebody like that. But yeah, I don't know what Bayern would do. Again, I'd have to ask a fan. I'm not going to pretend like I know Bayern Munich inside out. I don't. But what would make sense to me, and this is like from the outside looking in, it's like somebody like Wenger, because I know the style of football he likes to play. And that seems like Bayern Munich football to me. He likes playing youth academy guys. He's responsible with cash. Once you sign Mourinho's going to want you to do a couple of things. Like you're going to have to spend 80, 90 million euros on this player I want, that player I want. I need this guy gone that you might like or the fans might like. I still want him gone. I feel like Wenger could work inside of a budget. He's going to try to play 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 style of football that might suit, the Coutinhos, the Lewandowskis. Maybe he could be the Coleman whisperer. I don't know.
Gabriel himself couldn't change the Coleman. It's over. It's like
I don't know. That's just, maybe he might speak to him in French and say, "Hey, what that means?" Like I don't know. Je sais pas. That kind of makes sense to me, but I don't think they do it. You think like they're gonna go for Allegri? They're gonna go from some German guy?
Daniel, it's time. It's because for so long people, it's time that he came home. The stars have aligned. I thought it would happen as Real Madrid, but then Real went to go and beat Galatasaray, and now I think equal on points with Barca. It's time that he reminded people that shut your mouth, stop disrespecting my name. I'm still that dude. I'm still that ... We can't really say it on here, but he's that dude, and that's So.
I was like, what did he mean by ... I got it. Anyway, selfishly, I want to see it just cause. But again, do you think Bayern Munich are a club that would hire a Mourinho type?
Yes, because I think of German mentality, Bayern mentality, structure, disciplineness. I think that they would. It's just that they would be wary based on what happened at United and think that, is he going to mess with the image of the club and mess with the vibe and everything? But they would strongly consider just based on his resume and how disciplined he is and how much he demands respect.
So, are we going to talk about Barcelona?
Bro, let's look, man. The streets want it. That's what Talking Tactics is about. We go in, man. The streets wants it.
You kick us off. I'm sure you've had enough of these conversations. So.
Why did he get hired in the first place? I mean, maybe you can do a fact check on this. As who did he manage before Barcelona? I don't know whether it was a Bilbao or something.
I think it was.
Yeah. So basically, he wasn't really known as this kind of attacking philosophy. The Johan Cruyff. Because remember, Pep, students of Cruyff, Villanova was second in charge to Guardiola. Luis Enrique played for Barcelona at around that whole Cruyff era. Okay, Gerard Martino, okay, he was a bit out there, and then he eventually got sacked because he was much more of a pragmatist. So and he got sacked because he wasn't in the Barca way. Rijkaard came from the Dutch school of attacking football. So where does Valverde fit into Rijkaard, Guardiola, Cruyff, Villanova, Luis, and Enrique?
Yeah, I'm looking at his senior career right now. He did play for them for 2 seasons.
Valverde played for Barcelona?
Mm-hmm.
For how long?
2 seasons. He played 22 league matches, so he wasn't that effective. But then he went to Bilbao and played 170 games, and he's managed Bilbao twice. He's managed Olympiacos twice. He's managed Espanyol, Villarreal, Valencia. If we're gonna compare that with Kovač, far more pedigree in that way.
Whenever like these things happen, like okay, they lost to Levante, they lost to Liverpool, and everything, the manager has to take some blame. There are very few scenarios where the manager takes 100% of the blame. That's if the manager just says, I want you to play a 7-0-0, like a 10-1-0 formation. The formation I'm asking you to play is so bogus, so crazy that no matter how talented you are as an individual, you are so disorganized on the pitch, there is nothing you can do to affect the game because the spacing is off, the structure is off, everything is just off. So you can't even function on the pitch based on the blueprints the manager has given you. So that is a very rare occurrence.
B.S. Boas, 2012 Chelsea.
100% for Valverde, there is more that he could do with regards to training players, changing the effectiveness of the game. And remember, you're managing a very intricate attacking team. And this is the key thing about football. A lot of it is about management. Because, I always think to myself that, look, these guys are so talented. Like, you don't have to do that much managing or that much coaching. But remember, even if you're a star player, you're just one player on that pitch. It's a very big pitch. Remember, see, this isn't basketball. One player can have a greater effect in a basketball game because it's a smaller court and it's only 10 people on the court. On a pitch, it's a much bigger space and it's 10 versus 10 over a massive, massive space. So you are far more reliant on tactics in football than you are in basketball because an individual can have a greater effect in basketball than an individual can in football. So no matter how talented these Barca guys may be, they are still about what do we do? How do we get what we learned in training into this game? Okay, this is not working. Give us instructions. How do we move around? If you look at on the sidelines at Luis Enrique and at Guardiola, they were doing, and even Rijkaard, they were doing a lot of in-game management. Go here, pull out here. Yo, move. No, come closer, come closer. You go out wide. If there's a space game, grab a guy to the sidelines. Yo, instructions. This is what I want you to do because there is constant coaching of passing, move. This is the movements. This. I want you to make this run. I want you to make the other run. No, that was the wrong run. This run I want you to make. No, I want you to pull out much more wide here. For Valverde, he sometimes does it, but I don't think he does. He got a great handle on that. And the thing about it, and the misconception that people may have is, when you look at the success in 2011, see, let's leave 2015 to one side. But 2011 and 2009, that was a lot of coaching. There was a lot of coaching done by Pep Guardiola. Hence why I'll give Pep a lot of credit for what he achieved in 2011 and although, because someone brought this up.
Don't say the D word.
What's the D word?
It rhymes with moping.
No, not that. Barcelona shouldn't have been playing the 2009 Champions League final.
True.
So I mean that's a separate thing. But moving beyond this, like a lot of coaching is involved. So Barcelona are in a stage now where look, it's complex because people like an easy fix, but in talking tactics we like to go deep in here and much more intricate. We don't just do easy blanket statements. Valverde is an issue, but Piqué is past his peak. Busquets is past his peak. The cannibal can give you 1, 2, 3 great games, 5, 6 trash games. His Champions League record recently is atrocious. Griezmann, how good is he really? So there are a lot of players there who, how good are they? And how much can they really affect the game? Because trust me, the squads of 2015, 09, 2011 was far better than this squad. The key point is there is no excuse to lose to Levante. That's
what I was going to say. Like a lot of people, maybe even if we wanted to talk about Manchester United later, a lot of people complain like, oh, the Glazers this, the Ed Woodward that, the manager this. your squad's still good enough to beat Bournemouth. If you look at that Barcelona team, it's good enough to beat Levante. Like, okay, maybe the board has let you down in terms of maybe you don't have the requisite players to win a Champions League.
That's what management is
exactly. And I was going to get there. Like, maybe you could have the argument that Valverde isn't good enough to win you a Champions League. That when it gets into a quarterfinal, a semifinal, he short circuits, he does wrong substitutions, he sets the team up in a bad manner. Whatever the case may be, he doesn't give them the right information, or he gives them too much information. Whatever the case may be, maybe he's just not tailored for that. We're not talking about the second leg in the Champions League semifinal. We're talking about a league game against Levante. You lost 3-1. So you can look at it from the manager perspective. You can look at it from the playing staff. You can look at it from the board. I mean, I'm sure if we did a pie chart, we could say maybe it's 50% Valverde. Maybe it's 30% the board. Maybe it's 20% the players or something like that. But at the end of the day, you're Barcelona and it's Levante. So just go out and do what you need to do. And the fact that you can't do that, it reflects poorly on all three. I want to call them branches, but departments might be a better word. The main reason I want Valverde gone, what's happened to Dembele, yo? Like obviously you might, it's his fault. He doesn't have great work ethic, boo, boo, boo. But if the manager's not going to play you, why would I work hard? No matter what I do, this guy's not going to play me.
Leave that in there, man. Leave that in there. It shows the real you, man. It shows the real you.
The real me. But yeah, it's like no matter what I do, this guy's not going to play me. I want him gone if only for that. Maybe the next guy will just come in and do something special.
No, I'm not. I mean, the way the Us has been disrespected is very, 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 very harsh. Like, because remember, he's still a young player. But there's another key thing, another very key thing. Who has Valverde improved? Can Valverde improve any player? Is he capable of improving any player? I don't think so. I mean, so
imagine you took Messi out of the team.
Get to the next level under Valverde. Will the Us get to the next level under Valverde? No, they won't.
Do you want to? This is why Barcelona were so desperate for Neymar in the summer, especially the players. The players know. The players know that, look, this guy's not giving us enough, so we need the next great guy. We need him back. You know, when you're thinking, like, he left y'all. Why would y'all want him back so much? It's because they know. They know we need a player like that. Because otherwise, we're going to end up losing. Like, Griezmann, okay, that's cool. But he kind of begged to get out of Madrid anyway. So, like, it is what it is in that case. But this is why they needed Neymar. Or wanted him anyway. Like, PK, Messi, we needed a great player, but it's difficult for him to go. Woo, woo, woo. They know. This guy ain't it. I have Madrid nil, Betis nil written down here, but we can skip it. Other than the fact that I looked at Eden Hazard's stats, and I think he's played over 400 minutes, and he only has 1 goal. So this is not good. And 1 assist. So
okay,
2.
I mean, so are we? But you know, he was man of the match. I think not the Betis game, but the game previous to that, he was man of the match. And because remember, like, Hazard has never been a guy where that's what
1 goal, 1 assist.
You know, but that Hazard he needs to 100% do better and evolve more. And I think that this season is going to probably be a bust because the team isn't there. But you can't judge Hazard's effectiveness on the team based on his stats because that's not what really he's about. Now, maybe you want to look at his assists. Maybe you want to look at assists because that's where he's really in about. The goals thing is an extra. Hazard is not a goal scorer. He's a creator as a playmaker. So you may say, bro, get those assists up. But still, bro.
All I hear is excuses, Doug.
I'm just trying to save face, man. Come on.
You can't play me at this point, man.
Look, man. Look. He'll come good. Hopefully, some.
And all you need from him is just a good game in the Champions League against like a good team in a knockout game, like couple goals and assists, man of the match performance against like PSG or somebody, knock them out, and then you're back. Oh, yeah, this is the Zad. I was telling the Zad. That's all you need.
Performance, man. One big performance.
If he gets one massive performance in a big moment, then you can always go back to like the other players let him down. This is what he needed to do the whole season.
No. Basically, I've got like a whole series of tweets on draft for when that drafts. You know.
Okay. Now to England. We kind of talked about this last week, but we talked last week about Liverpool and their need to win late possibly being an issue, and they did it again against Villa.
Can they keep doing this?
Now, is this a thing of Liverpool are bad and they're just escaping with wins due to Mane or just the brilliance of individuals? Or are Liverpool biding their time before they start playing well? Do you understand what I mean? Like, is it they're winning while they're playing badly, or they're kind of scraping wins, and if things go bad, they're going to go really bad?
That's a tough question.
It's just like how often can you do this? Or is it eventually they won't have to do this, and you'll see the 3-0s, the 4-0s, the 5-0s, 3-1s, all that. That will that come, or are they going to be dependent on heroics for the season? That can't be sustainable.
Basically, I think like there is no way of knowing. 100%, there is no way of knowing of whether they're biding their time or they're actually just struggling to be into a rhythm and they're just getting lucky with these goals. But my thing is, you're still winning and you're still finding out ways to win. But the key thing is that you can't sustain this for an entire season. No. So I think for Klopp knows that this shows a great side of our team, that we have this mentality that no matter what, even if we're not playing well, we can still win and we can actually come back from a losing position and win. This is great, but we have to get back to a stage where we are playing well, playing confidently and winning.
Nothing comes easily or comfortably, which that might be a good sign that like, this is our struggle part of the season and we're still winning. So then once we get back right, we'll be good.
If I was to guess, I think it's a case of where they will get back to a good groove because it's still the same core of the team from last season. They haven't necessarily gotten worse individually. And I just think it's a case of like they'll just have to figure out how to really get into the groove of playing really well. Then they'll be fine. But maybe, because look, Aston Villa, they've been decent, but look, this is a team that just got promoted and they were winning 1-0 for a long time. So,
but the scary thing is, if it is, we still have like 4th, 5th, 6th gear to come, and we're winning these games, albeit dramatically, but we're not having to get at a 3rd gear yet. What happens when they do get into their stride then? But we could be looking at like invincible type stuff if that's the case. Obviously, they have a game against Man City, so I don't want to be.
Actually, let me ask you this though. Do you think they'll go unbeaten?
No.
Why not though?
I just don't think that's possible in 2019 the same way it was in 2004. So that was Ranieri's last season. So you just had Liverpool kinda and Manchester United. The rest of the league, Tottenham, Everton. Now they're gonna have to go. They got to play Wolves. They got to play Leicester.
What's it called? Man City this weekend.
Obviously, I'm Tottenham, Arsenal, United, City, Chelsea. Those are givens. But just the idea that you have those 5 teams, and then the rest of the league. If you look at maybe Crystal Palace, Leicester, Wolves, even the relegation sides, like Norwich played them well in the first game of the season. So it's not like there are no easy games, I don't think, in the Premier League. Maybe you might find a few, like a team is off their game, you're on your game. But there aren't easy games.
It's no easy game, but City got 98 points last season and 100 points the season before.
You're asking me, will they catch an L? Not will they get 100 points.
Okay, yeah.
I think that there are 114 points. I could be wrong on that. 114 points available.
What's 3 times 38?
I think it's 114. I feel like this is just math that's in my head.
3 times 3 is 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 114.
Yeah. It's just something I memorized. I don't know. I didn't know if it was right.
Do you know how scary that is? So City so they only lost 14 points
in a season. But the point is, of those 14 points, 3 of those have to be at least from 1L. Like you're not going to play 38 games and win them all. You might. I'm not going to say it's not unreasonable to say Liverpool could go unbeaten. But will it happen? You're asking me. It's kind of what we said about Leicester in top 4. Can they? Yes. Will they? No.
Yeah.
One of those. City played Southampton. Now people thought, Southampton lost 9-0 to Leicester last week. Man City might beat these guys by 12. As a matter of fact, it wasn't.
Pep Guardiola, or rather watching version of Pep Guardiola, and he said that like they need that anybody that thought that this would be an easy game for City based off the Leicester City game hasn't played football before. But he said that anybody who's played before, anybody who's been a player knows that when you get beat like that, your very next game you play even harder for your pride. So you give it even much of an effort, and that's much sharper in your next game because you want to just show that man, let's just actually play for our self-respect and remind people that we're not a bunch of chumps. So
we aren't bricks FC. But yeah,
I mean 9-0 is, that is pretty. That was one. Imagine if someone actually won a Premier League game by 10-0.
We'll see it. I think in our lifetime.
We're
already seeing 9. I feel like there was an 8-1 this season.
Didn't Real Madrid beat Granada 10-1 or something? I swear there was like a 10 in La Liga at one point.
Like every week, that something like that comes up, and I'm like, yo, all them teams come together, man. Eibar, Granada, Elche. Somebody caught 10, but I don't know who.
I said, like, why is it that these Spanish teams, they seem much like, why is that like Elche and Huesca seem like those names just like than Doncaster or Branch? I don't know. You just say Huesca or Elche.
Yeah, it just sounds bad. But what was the point? I've forgotten the point actually.
Wait. No, I think once we talk.
No. Southampton. People thought they were going to lose.
Yeah.
By a big number, but at halftime, Liverpool and Man City, they were both playing at the same time. They were both losing 1-0 at halftime, and I put out, what are the chances they both lose on the same day? Because I knew what would happen.
That would have been for Man City, like, because I'm sure they would have known that Liverpool were losing on the run, because for them, they're like, man, imagine if we are able to get this win and go to and play them next weekend with only a 4 points gap. But now there's a 6 points gap. Is like,
Okay. First game of the week in the Premier League, Manchester United lost. Do we have any comments on this? Is it time for Oli to go? Has it been time for Oli to go?
I think it might be time, for him to part ways, because looking at just how they're playing, I don't know how this team can go on a run. Like a run of winning games. And that's why you have to say to yourself, Lukaku ain't great. He's not great. Although he's doing pretty well at Milan, but he's not great. But you always want to give yourself a cushion, especially when you're like a rookie like Solskjaer. Selling Lukaku was pretty much saying that we're going all in on Rashford, whose maximum amount of goals is 11. And I think Tammy Abraham is going to pretty much exceed Rashford's personal best.
Tammy has 10, I think. So.
And Rashford is on 5 or 6 or?
No, people are saying Rashford's best ever total is 11, I think.
Yeah, I think 11. Yeah, 11.
Or it might be 10, and Tammy has 9. But either way, like, Tammy's coming.
So yeah, man, it's like I think that Solskjaer. I think the sooner Solskjaer gets sacked, the better. But even if you're bringing in a new manager, as Mourinho and Louis van Gaal showed, is that the problem is a lot deeper. Like you just need better players. These players, are they really good enough to beat Bournemouth? Yes, they may be better man for man, but how good is Fred really? How good is Scott McTominay really? How good is Daniel James really? Martial, all right. How good is Rashford really? These are the questions that must be asked. These are the questions that.
This is the same question that must be asked 5 different ways.
Who asked?
No, you said, how good is McTominay really? How good is Fred really? How good are Rashford really? How good are these players? So you said these are the questions that have to be asked. I'm like, no, this is the same question asked 5 different ways. How good are these players really? Is the question. But I think it's a legitimate question, even still.
I mean, let's keep it real. Like, even Man U, they're not getting top 4, bro. That's not happening. I think that's a write-off.
So what is your updated top 4 now? Obviously, we have Liverpool and Manchester City that could go either way at the top. So
bro? Don't sleep on Chelsea. I think if I was to say it now, I would say Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Leicester City 5th. I just think that Aubameyang's goals, they'll just about to do it. But Leicester City are making it very interesting.
I can't trust Arsenal in this current state. When they're winning, they don't win.
What do you mean?
They were up 2 goals against Crystal Palace. They dropped 2 points. They were up against Wolves, dropped 2 points again. It's like they can't hold on to a lead. And these games are at home. God forbid what happens when they go to Molineux, or what happens when they go to Selhurst Park, or they haven't even played a big team yet in this kind of run that they're in. Like these are the games that you would think, okay, 3 points. He's even playing the lineup that they want. He gave them Torreira. He gave them Guendouzi, Ozil. He dropped Xhaka. He put in Lacazette, Aubameyang. The only player that was really missing was Pepe. And they still drop points. Arsenal for top 4 is contingent on like you get rid of Emery and you put in somebody who's a little bit more competent.
And then Emery only has a plan A. How is it that you take off, you're winning 1-0, second half, you take off a midfielder and put on an attacking player?
Well, like, no. Okay. I understand what they were doing. I understand. I understood it. I understand, but it's a stupid reason, and I'll explain why. Torreira was playing as the furthest forward midfielder because he wanted Torreira to initiate the press because he's really good at running. So people assume in their minds Lucas Torreira should be playing defensive midfield. So he comes off and he brings on, I think, Saka or Sacco. I'm not quite sure the last name. Somebody forgive me. He brings on the young Arsenal player, because we put it that way. Now, who is a forward player. So it seems like he's taking off a defensive player to put on an attacking player. But he's convoluted in his mind some way that Lucas Torreira should be playing further forward. So it makes sense tactically, but the fact that you start Torreira where you start him is the mistake in and of itself. You're supposed to be playing Torreira deeper. He wants him to play further forward so he can run and agitate defenders and chase goalkeepers, I guess, just because he has that kind of stamina. It makes sense given what you were asking Torreira to do in the game, but you shouldn't be asking Torreira to do that in the game, which is your biggest mistake. Is that you're not playing your players in their best positions, which then makes you look like you're doing something idiotic by taking off a defensive midfielder, which he is, and putting on an attacker. So that's the reasoning behind that one. But the fact that you would start Torreira where you start him is your mistake.
But then where do Arsenal go from here? Like, so let's say Emery leaves and Allegri comes. Will Allegri do better necessarily? Will Mourinho, because they said, Mourinho has been dining with some Arsenal dude. Will Mourinho do better if he comes in?
I can't handle Mourinho at Arsenal, yo. I don't even want to think about that.
Uncle Moo.
Nah, I can't do it.
I just want to see Uncle Moo back. I missed the.
There was something inevitable about Mourinho to United that when it happened, we just kind of, okay, yeah, like that was going to happen ever since Porto. Like, yeah, he might go to Chelsea, but somehow, some way, he's going to find his way to Manchester United. That happened. Mourinho at Arsenal? Mourinho at Tottenham? Please, no. Like, I can't. God, please. Don't let that happen, yo. Can we pray about this? Okay. Heavenly Father, we come to you today, and we just ask you that you stop Jose Mourinho managing any club in North London. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Okay. I feel better. Whoever your God is, even if you don't believe anybody, just put out good vibes into the universe that, that Jose Mourinho won't go to North London, yo. You want to do questions?
That's right, man.
All right. This is from LFC Jack, 1995. Do you think Pep hates Mane and his alleged diving because of the color of his skin? Ooh. I just think he hates diving. I don't think the color of Mane's skin has anything to do with it necessarily. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Yaya Toure would tell a different tale, but I just think Pep doesn't like Liverpool getting points naturally.
Look, man, Pep is that guy. He's a weirdo, man.
From Packed Mouth, is it fair to say City and Liverpool are some of, if not the most resilient teams the Premier League has ever seen? The amount of late winners both teams have gotten in the past 2 seasons is remarkable. I think, yeah. But again, I think when you have really good squads and you have really good players, the chances that they're going to score late goals increases. If you have trash or worse players, I shouldn't call them trash, but if you have worse players than the ones they have, maybe they don't have that ability to pull something out of that proverbial hat, like the Manchester United teams under Ferguson. You have good players, good things happen.
Yes, sir.
Can we say yet that 2019-2020 is Liverpool's year? From Kwesi 20.
Based on what?
I guess the fact that they keep winning when they shouldn't. Don't
fall into that trap. This is a long season with many, many twists and turns. Things can happen. Look, Liverpool were on their way to winning it when City lost to Newcastle. Then everything changed. So things can change very quickly, bro.
This is from Mason Boris. He said, "Who would your pick for Premier League Manager of the Year be so far?" He gives some options, but I want to see what you say without his influence.
Manager of the Year.
So far.
Wait, in the Premier League or overall?
PL.
Has to be Guardiola.
He said, "I'd have to go with Chris Wilder right now for having Sheffield United in the top 6. But if Leicester get top 4 or even top 3, it'd have to be Brendan Rodgers regardless of who wins the league."
If you're talking about the year, the Chris Wilder guy, like he's doing amazing, but he's only just coming. Let's see what he does for the rest of the season. Rodgers, amazing for let's see what they do. So if you're now saying,
I think he means this season. You might be saying year as like from January, February.
Okay. I was thinking about year. So okay, if it's for this season,
yeah,
we have to see what happens with Sheffield United and Leicester City. Like if Rodgers gets top 4 with Leicester, then he's definitely a good shout to get it. If Chris Wilder gets top 6, even top 7, him as well.
Since the start of the season, from Football Bench 4, Ollie has amassed a whopping 13 points from 11 games. That's 5 points off relegation in November. After United's loss to 6th place rivals, AFC Bournemouth, should United take a leaf from Bayern's book and sack Cardiff FC's worst ever manager? There were a lot of bars in there, Football Bench. Should Ollie be sacked is his question.
Yes.
But again, who do you get?
That's the thing.
This is the question for everybody. Barcelona, you sack Valverde. Who do you get? Kovač, you sacked him. Cool. Who you get?
Oh, bring back Rijkaard. Bring back Rijkaard.
I have a name.
Who? Benitez?
Michael Laudrup.
Hey!
Whatever happened? He used to change the Michael Laudrup every 2 weeks, man.
Actually, when
last you've changed, dog. You changed, man.
Like when last did Michael Laudrup actually manage a team?
I feel like he went to Saudi Arabia or Qatar or someplace like that, and I haven't heard from him since. He did well with Swansea, but then they got Europa League, and that messed everything up, I think. Last question. Since sometimes it seems like teams focus more on making top 2 in the European group stages than actually winning, would making the first knockout game a single elimination home game for the group winners make the competition more exciting? So basically he's saying instead of the round of 16 be a kind of a 2-legged affair, what if you just gave the home team almost like a final in that way? Like,
so what kind of advantage did the home team get then? What do you mean?
Basically, you would be incentivizing winning in the group stage no matter what, not just trying to get points to get second or get in the top 2. If you're going to scrap 2-legged ties for one round, do it for the whole thing. That would be my idea. Like if you go down that route, make the round of 16 one single elimination, make quarterfinal single elimination, semi, and obviously the final. Do it that way. Do you know the kind of wildness that would happen if you had basically if you made the Champions League like the World Cup?
No. Basically, don't mess with one of the best inventions in football, which is the concept of the 2-legged tie with the away goal rule. Don't mess with that. That's one of the most that is what makes the Champions League unique and amazing. And probably it is, if basically that whole away goal rule thing and thingy is what makes the Champions League the best football competition in the world, the best sporting competition for me, based on just our ruling. The World Cup is just better because it's just more historic. It's more interesting. It's bigger, has much more prestige. But in terms of the rules and excitement and that away goal rule thing, that's just what makes the Champions League amazing.
I have written down here Balotelli, Italy, and racism.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, so Have Hope, could you explain to us what happened with Balotelli in Italy, please?
Okay, so basically, they were playing against Verona. I think it's Hellas Verona, not Chievo Verona. I think it's Hellas Verona. And obviously there was, I don't know the extra details, but just from what I know is, so racist chanting from the Verona fans. Balotelli got pissed off, smacked the ball, I believe, in the direction of the fans out of the stadium, was trying to walk off the pitch. The players then convinced him to remain on the pitch. Then the referee was told about this. Then they went to the whole dumbass routine of the announcer saying, "Please don't be racist. Be nice to black people, please." And then pretty much that was it. So obviously the real contentious thing is, should Balotelli have just continued to walk off? Why did the players keep Balotelli on the pitch? Are you valuing a fishnet match over self-respect and self-worth? These are the questions that rule our life, dear sire.
So I watched the clip, and what struck me at first was, okay, Balotelli reacts, and Balotelli has the type of personality to where when he does something like that, it doesn't shock me, and it really shouldn't shock anybody. So he kicks the ball into the stands. Mario being Mario, fine. He tries to walk off the pitch, and players, I'm not sure if they're from the bench or if they were on the pitch, but they come over, and he's trying to walk off, and they're just like, they're stopping him. Like, they're putting their hands on him, teammates of his, and they're like, nah. Basically, like, don't leave, stay. Whoop-de-whoop. Mario, I can't read lips in Italian, but I'm sure he's saying something to the kid, like get the fuck up off me. Like, this is bullshit. I need to leave, right? And the clip ends, so I'm not sure what happens. But then there was a clip later of a brilliant goal that he scored. They were down 2-0, and it's like the 88th, 89th minute, and he kind of bends a first-time shot into the top corner. I guess they lose 2-1 given the time situation, but so he stayed on the pitch, or at least he was allowed to re-enter the game or whatever the case may be. But I think it is interesting, his reaction compared to like the idea that, you know, you should stay on the pitch and don't let it affect you, and the kind of that John Barnes thing of like, you know, it doesn't offend me. I'll just kick the banana off the pitch and I'll just keep going about my business. The fact that Balotelli is like, nah, like this needs to end. Like, they have to shut up in some capacity. I like that reaction. Obviously, like, I know some people would be like, well,
it's different. He's not a John Barnes though, you know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know some people would be like, well, you let the racist people win if you react to them in that way. It's like, nah, like, if I don't react, they still win. So at least this way you get to show a piece of your humanity in some way. Like, yo, like, this is not cool. I'm frustrated. If it's like water off a duck's back in some way, then it doesn't affect them. We'll just keep doing it. Or the officials will be like, it doesn't mean that much to them. They don't do anything, you know. But actually, if you react to it and then you bring attention, like if Balotelli doesn't do anything, we're not talking about this. Nobody's bringing it up on social media because nobody would even consider to say, oh, the Italian soccer fans were racist. They wouldn't report that necessarily unless there was a reporter that heard it, and maybe he might tweet it, but it wouldn't catch the world's attention. What catches the world's attention is Balotelli reacts, and that's what brings you to the situation. And so Hellas Veronis, or whatever the hell that team name is.
Hellas Verona.
The Verona fans are being racist. That is the kind of reaction I think we need more of. Just take the ball.
Bring the game into disrepute.
You know when you're playing in the street and just somebody does something stupid and it's your ball, so you just take the ball and you're just like I'm going home. Like, I don't need to be out here playing with you because you fouling or y'all are disrespecting or whatever the case. I'm just taking my ball and I'm going home. I don't need to be out here with you guys. You guys gonna get me in trouble. I'm gonna end up getting beaten, spankings. Like, nah, I'm going home. That's what Balotelli. That's what he did. He took the ball and just punted it. Maybe he was trying to hit one of them. I don't know.
It was, man. Look, it's flipping. But
no. If he was trying to hit them, he would have done it maybe like side foot. But yeah, he just took the ball and he just punted it. And I was like, yo, like, I like this reaction. I put out like Balotelli doesn't do say no to racism. Balotelli does hashtag racism. Yeah, and I like that. He's just like, nah, I'm not standing for this shit. Like, I want to go home. And it was disappointing to see how his teammates just they didn't back him. They were almost like, nah, not now, Mario. Like, it's a game. Ooh,
yeah, like, no, because okay, like, no, they want to try and win the game. Like, for them, racism, who cares? Yeah. This getting this ball inside this fishnet is more important than racism, you know. Well,
I can tell you, I can just tell you're over it, man.
You know, no. For me, it's like, because even when it was, I'm like, okay, so what am I really gonna have another conversation about like, oh, this racism? How can we educate these white people to be less?
This is the thing, though. Like, it tires you to the point of atrophy.
Ooh, damn.
It happens so much, and it taxes your emotions so much that sometimes these things happen, and especially if they're not happening to you or in your area or whatever the case may be. It's just like, again, I don't want to talk about this again, but how does it get better if we don't discuss it? Especially us, because like I don't know who these black people are who are like afraid to talk about these kind of things, or like they don't want to talk about it, or like if we don't talk about it, it'll get better. Like the whole Morgan Freeman. If we don't talk about racism, it'll go away. Like that. No, that's stupid. We have to talk about it.
What I've always said though is very simple. You walk off and you bring the game into disrepute and you dock points off these teams. If you're not going to do that, these things will continue to happen. Simple as that. Nothing more to be said. So that's it.
I wanted to acknowledge Mario in that way and be like, I salute him for his reaction to what he did to bring attention to the situation. I feel like it's needed. Just shout out Mario Balotelli one time. Should have played for Ghana though.
Well, maybe now he wishes he played for Ghana, man. Like your own country people are calling it a damn monkey. So how about
that? We do this podcast every Tuesday. Remember to follow us on the social medias: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Twitter's the main one. All the links are in the description. Remember to follow us on Patreon. Join us on Patreon. We're going to be talking about power. If you're listening on Spotify, remember to give us a follow. Shout out to you. If you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe. It's free. What are you doing? Leave us a 5-star review, and we will definitely read it on the show. If you're listening in America, Canada, Great Britain,
Iraq,
Iran,
Malaysia,
Hong Kong, like we get reviews from everywhere. So shout out to everybody.
Well, I'm not sure how much listening has been happening in Hong Kong right now. They're going through a bit of stuff there. They're throwing a few stones at our windows.
Leave us a review, and we'll read it on the show. Yeah, I'm at Daniel to look.
Go to the bloody website, halfoffootballhot.com.
Damn. Go to the bloody website. Calls at Anchorman 616. Talking Texas podcast. Sometimes
we miss you, Carl. Where are you, man? We miss you, man. I miss you so much, man.
Talking Texas podcast. Sometimes funny, sometimes serious.
Always freaking football.
Indeed. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.